What up, Long Beach? Welcome back to your home for everything local sports. It's JJ.
And Mike, and this 562 Classic video is brought to you by Naples Rib Company. Really excited to be bringing you another look back at a video we did with Gazette Sports. This recall is brought to you as part of our partnership with the Long Beach Post. And I'm fired up for this one because I think this might be, in our 13 years of covering sports, the single most famous game we ever covered. If you say Poly Bosco Fog Bowl, Poly Bosco 2012, everyone immediately knows what you're talking about. We get asked about this game all the time.
Yeah, let's pause it here before we get into it. It was a proximity rivalry, right? Like Bosco, Poly, very close to Veterans Memorial Stadium, but it was also a change in the high school football landscape and really history. St. John Bosco had never beaten Poly or reached a championship game until 2013 when they went on to win state, and then they beat Poly a few years later. This night was kind of the turning point for really both programs and the entire Southern California football world.
Well, I mean, you could say that again. You mentioned the 2013 championship, but really they have not missed the championship game since this game. This was the last team to beat them short of the CIF championship. It's been pretty much an insane run for Bosco. They've set a CIF record with that run.
Yeah, I want to pause it right here on Raul Lara. I just want to say I really miss covering Raul Lara's football program. Didn't mean to get the brothers Lara in there, but on a night like this, it's easy to point and click and just get stuff. And then I also wanted to pause on Jason Negro, who we also covered at St. John Bosco while we were at that other newspaper, and he runs that college-style program that was really ahead of its time. A trendsetter on and off the field at Bosco.
For sure. I mean, those guys obviously just top-notch in terms of character and in terms of coaching ability. Top-notch in terms of talent on the field. Josh Rosen, one of several future pros in this. And then our buddies, Nigel Hale, Chandler Lanu, and Jaleel Wadood. We covered them at Lakewood. We covered them in this game when they were at Bosco. And you could just kind of feel that shift coming in the high school football world, because at that point, it wasn't yet routine for people to go from public schools to private schools, which obviously now we see all the time.
And this was a resilient group of rabbits. We must remember they started the season with a historic loss, and everybody was very worried, so it was almost surprising to see them in this game, and extra surprising to see them come out in the camo grays.
As great as the game is, as great as the superstars are, the reveal of the camo grays in front of 11,000 people at Vets is definitely a huge part of why this game is so famous, because everyone in the crowd went nuts when that happened. And then obviously, as you'll see with the fog rolling in later, it ends up kind of being a huge on-field advantage as well that they were camouflaged.
I think we got more people watching our video because in the second half, as you'll see, it was very hard to see the field from the stands. But as we get going, we got to mention the big hits in this game, and a lot of them, let's be honest, would be penalties nowadays, even though this game is just like 8 years old.
Well, and I wouldn't say that there's any like dirty hits, but yes, basically I can think of 3 of those plays off the top of my head that would be 15-yard penalties now for sure. Poly coming out with an unbalanced line. That was their big strategic adjustment. Their offensive line coach, Brent Perez, did a really good job of reforming that offense week in and week out and really mixing people up. They were able to gain a lot of yardage before they felt like Bosco was able to make an adjustment, but they get stopped on third down. And Ty Tiedemann, the future pro baseball player, is going to put his fingerprints all over this game right here.
He planted his back foot and threw an absolute laser, and then this caps a 12-play, 82-yard, 5+ minute drive. Wicks in there for the touchdown from 5 yards out. That's exactly how Poly wanted to start that game. Control the clock.
Well, and that kind of let us know it was going to be a game, because coming into this, you mentioned it, Poly had a 56-0 loss on their schedule this year, and Bosco was supposed to be the next great thing because of Josh Rosen. But then you get into this game, Poly scores the first touchdown, and Rosen's receivers, as you see, came out and just dropped everything.
They really did. It was continuous all night long. Pops in there making a big play, and then Tiedemann to Tom Tucker. That's the breaking news. I forgot how much fun it was to call Tom Tucker's name in a highlight.
Yeah, for Tom Tucker's one of those guys, and Malik Dorton here for Bosco, the guys that they're not the superstars that are in this game, and there were superstars, but they made huge plays. And you can see with what Poly was doing early, they're trying to get Juju Smith-Schuster the ball. That was obviously a good strategy. And you can see that their defensive scout was just terrific with Bosco. That Poly defense was really, really, really good and really smart. And you just felt like they were in Bosco's side pocket the entire game.
More weird plays in this one. Gerard Wicks is like, I'm just going to run this fake punt. I don't think that was called, right? He just took it?
It was called from his own 20. They got the look that they wanted, and he they had the signal. If you're on your own 10 and you see that the Gunners are going, you know that you're the fastest guy on the field, and it was a good call.
Matt Matai with an absolute thunderous block. I mean, no helmet to helmet you can see, but that's definitely a penalty today. He'd probably get ejected from the game.
I mean, 2 years later, Iman Biggie Marshall made a similar no helmet to helmet contact, just huge play hit in a playoff game at Crespi and got a 15-yard just because you're not allowed to hit people that hard anymore in high school football.
Death, taxes, and penalties killing poly drives. Obviously, we've seen that before. We've never seen this before. Halftime, the fog rolls in. It just got thicker as the night got longer.
Yeah, for sure. And it would get much thicker than it is in that clip, for sure. That I think was the big thing everyone remembers from this game. Good halftime adjustments from both teams. You're relying on superstars on both sides. You see Juju Smith-Schuster with the huge interception right there. That was kind of the start of him saying, okay, I'm the best guy on the field right now, and this is going to be my game that everyone remembers. And so, really quick, everyone from Bosco always would joke with us about, hey, there's a Juju play later in this game that was not a catch. And I always bring up, but should this not have been called a dead on the 5-second stop before Gerard Wicks had the ball pop out for a fumble?
Yeah, in retrospect, looking at that looks like a very long time for him to be pulled around. The Poly defense steps up, big pressure. They just kept getting more pressure all night long. And then Reed Budrovich, 43-yard field goal. Could he even see the uprights? I thought that was a great joke you made because we couldn't really see the fans at that point.
No, and that might have been the most impressive play of the game, Budrovich's field goal, to be completely honest with you, Jage. So at this point, what's funny is you and I start getting texts. Our friend Tyler is in Utah watching the game as Nigel Hill takes this back for an interception return for a touchdown. The Fox cameras are up in the air, and they had a terrible view. So you actually have a better view from this camera that you're holding than the people had on TV watching it, which is crazy.
Poly's next drive, they give it to Juju, and this was the beginning of let's go. Like, everything kind of seemed to happen on this sideline now, and I was just on the right side for the rest of the game. Like you said, the other cameras not able to see it. Game of inches. Wicks gets that first down with the dive. And then here it is, one of my all-time favorite clips, the tippy-toe Juju with just one of the best sideline catches we've ever seen. Considering the situation and the stage, that is just a prime-time player move from 9.
And there's no doubt that he caught that one, JJ. However, the next play... the next play that he makes is the one that, I mean, I've probably heard 100 different people say they don't think this was a catch. Bosco football players have said, Juju admitted to me it wasn't a catch. It was a catch to the referee, which is all that counts. Poly then takes it in for the touchdown following that interception, so the Jackrabbits go up in the game.
15-play, 7-minute drive in response. Bosco's running game, 20 carries, 50 yards. Again, a big stop from D-block to keep that momentum. Senior captains, though, that's why you need them. Elijah Lopez with another big hit for Bosco.
Right, and we mentioned it. I mean, you got Jayon Brown and Iman Marshall and Josh Rosen and Juju. Those are the big names, but it's guys like Lopez and Tom Tucker, guys that made the plays that kind of kept the teams in this game.
Bosco set up with a 4th and 7. Another great throw from Rosen. Another drop from Bosco. We saw this Jesse Scroggins do that in the semi against Edison for Lakewood. So we've seen this before where a quarterback is just putting a little bit too much mustard on the ball.
And Roman Wyant, the most unsung hero for Poly in that game for sure. Jackrabbits trying to run the clock out, if you can even see the action at this point. I really do think we had the best view. We were probably the only people there who could see what was going on.
And the plays came our way. Sometimes that just happens, and it was happening. So Bosco going to get the ball back with about a minute and a half left. Here it is, game in a nutshell. Poly protecting the lead. Rosen, good throw. Bosco drops the ball. Juju, Juju, Juju. This kid is a junior in this game, but it's his Al Bundy game for sure. They're going to be talking about it for years.
I mean, people are still talking to us about it. Like, literally, we put up, we're going to do this as one of our videos, and people quote tweeted it, and we're just talking about the game, trying to get him to admit he didn't catch it, you know. It was pretty crazy. One of the best games we've ever covered, and I mean, it was just unreal. You know, I mean, you're just taking in the scene here with the fog and the guys running off the field. Just one of the craziest nights of our career.
We were shocked that they were there. Some of them were shocked that they were there. I think the entire football world was shocked that they were going to go back to the championship game. And I got to be honest, I'm going to pause this right here because I said that the catch was one of the best catches we've ever gotten. I think this is one of my favorite shots I've ever gotten. That's Coach Don Nordford, legendary Coach Don Nordford in the background. That's athletic director Rob Schock, and that's Juju. And it's like the weight of the moment hitting a young athlete like that and knowing that they get it. Like, he understood what was going on and how he just performed in the spotlight. That's a huge moment, and sometimes as a photographer or videographer, you just have to put yourself in a position to succeed. So I was just kind of following Juju around on the sideline as that game was winding down, and goodness gracious, am I happy I did so, because that shot right there, dude, that's iconic.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was the moment for sure. A 13-10 win. So much more exciting than that score makes it sound like it was, obviously. And then this is actually my favorite shot from this, because this was just an insane moment to witness in person. You were aware that it was one of those things people would be playing for decades.
I think we're celebrating too much, because we're not done. We're not done. One more game. One more game. Let's go. Hey, and guess what? It's going to be an old school championship by the day night.
Man, what a night. You know, when I went back and looked at that to set this thing up, I forgot how long that video was. But then when I watched it, it felt like it was about 3 minutes.
Right, because it's like watching The Godfather 2 or something. It's like, I know every line in the movie, so it doesn't feel like it's 3 hours long. It just slides right through.
This is really fun, dude. I know we keep doing stuff from 2012, but hey, 2012 was a hell of a year for Long Beach sports. We are going to continue to branch out and give you a chance to vote on Twitter for what old 562 classic video you want to hear us re-record as part of our partnership with the Long Beach Post.